Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. First call, Ravens GM praises former player who joined Steelers, and Arthur Smith favorite hits free agency. Wednesday's first call checks in on a popular name among Steelers fans as free agency approaches. A player Arthur Smith had in Atlanta and Tennessee has been cut loose. The Ravens general manager may have a franchise tag target. He is also praising a former player who has been scooped up by the Steelers. And it's a noteworthy night for both of Duquesne's basketball teams. A lot of Steelers fans have been targeting L'Jarius Sneed on their free agent wish lists. I concur. I think the 27-year-old Kansas City cornerback would make a great pair with Joey Porter Jr. Of course, he'll probably be too expensive for the Steelers' blood. But dare to dream. Perhaps the Steelers could work out a trade and sign deal. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Kansas City has told Sneed that if the organization can't sign him to a contract extension, they'll franchise tag him and try to work out a trade. The cornerback franchise tag hit is just over $19 million. So, if any team trades for Sneed, they must have the cap space to take on that tag number before they pound out the new contract. All teams must be compliant when free agency opens on March 13th. The deadline to tag a player is March 5th. The Steelers picked up former Baltimore Ravens outside linebacker Jeremiah Moon via waivers last month. According to SteelersNow.com, citing the NFLPA salary report, the Steelers have signed Moon to a one-year, $915,000 contract. At the NFL Combine, Baltimore general manager Eric DeCosta was asked about Moon. Jeremiah is a very hard-charging guy, DeCosta said via video on the team's website. Good on special teams. I think he's a developmental outside backer. Strong and physical. Great attitude. I think he's going to have a great career, definitely. Moon was claimed after Baltimore activated tight end Mark Andrews off of injured reserve during the postseason. The 25-year-old is 6'5" and weighs 250 pounds. He could provide some more depth with Marcus Golden and Nick Herbig behind Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. Moon got on the field for 8 games in Baltimore. The former Florida Gator totaled 12 tackles, 1 for loss and 2 forced fumbles. During 2023, he played 99 defensive snaps, plus 142 more on special teams. DeCosta had some other interesting nuggets about his defending AFC North champs. There are plenty of rumors about the Ravens potentially trying to sign star free agent running back Derrick Henry. However, DeCosta said the door is not closed on their own free agent running backs, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Edwards led Baltimore's running backs with a career-high 810 yards and 13 touchdowns. With Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Joe Flacco, Steelers and Browns may impact each other on the QB carousel. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns are inexorably linked as AFC North rivals. This offseason, there may be some linkage when it comes to their quarterback situations as well. After winning the 2023 NFL Comeback Player of the Year award with the Browns, quarterback Joe Flacco and the franchise have to figure out if there is a way to continue their relationship going into 2024. However, the Browns are likely to turn back to Deshaun Watson as their starter, assuming he is fully recovered from his shoulder injury. According to a story from Cleveland.com, Flacco is going to attempt to find a starting job on the free agent market first, or at least look for a team that may give him a legitimate shot at earning such a role. Just as Steelers' pending free agent QB Mason Rudolph is likely to do. If that doesn't transpire, though, reporter Mary Kay Cabot says that Flacco would be willing to return to Cleveland. Just like Rudolph might do in Pittsburgh if he doesn't find a more amenable opportunity to start elsewhere. If Flacco doesn't find greener pastures, he'd love to remain in Cleveland, even though it means backing up Deshaun Watson. If he signs elsewhere, the Browns will turn their attention to other veteran backups, Cabot said. A pair of names that Cabot referenced included former Brown Jacoby Brissett and Mitch Trubisky. The ex-Steeler is a native of Mentor, Ohio, 25 minutes from Cleveland. According to Cabot, the Browns loved Trubisky in the 2017 draft. Meanwhile, Brissett is someone who has been discussed as a potential backup for Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh if Rudolph leaves and if the Steelers decide against swinging big at the position by acquiring the likes of Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or Kirk Cousins. All three of those quarterbacks, and their potential to move, were hot topics of conversation at the NFL Scouting Combine Tuesday. So don't be surprised if, at some point during the annual game of NFL offseason QB musical chairs, decisions made by the Browns impact the Steelers or vice versa. Especially if Rudolph takes a job that could have gone to Flacco, or the other way around. One other note about Rudolph. You may have seen a mention of him this week from ESPN's Bill Barnwell. He had a post at ESPN.com ranking potential free agent quarterbacks. Regarding Rudolph, Barnwell said he is likely to re-sign with the Steelers. The word likely sounds a little strong to me, at least right now, before we even get to March. From what I've gathered tracking rumblings coming from the Steelers' quarterback situation, Rudolph's return is still a possibility, but any likelihood beyond that is pure speculation at this point. Championship-caliber QB could be available for Steelers fairly quickly. This offseason may be getting a little repetitive for followers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Through the second half of January and all of February, pundits connected the team to numerous quarterbacks. The most popular choices have been Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. If the Steelers are interested in either, though, they first have to see if those quarterbacks' current organizations are ready to depart with them. Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton implied while speaking to the media on February 27 that their decision on Wilson will happen sooner rather than later. We go through the combine week here. Next week, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be in meetings with ownership. And so I expect that we're going to know fairly quickly, Payton told reporters at the NFL Combine on February 27, via Pro Football Talk's Miles Simmons. There's a couple of factors here. Obviously, the cap projections came out. We're further down the road with the draft class, obviously the pro free agents. So, I would anticipate it within the next 2 weeks. If he does become available, NFL Network's Bucky Brooks projected Wilson to return to the championship-caliber play he displayed earlier in his career if he joined the Steelers. He can be a championship-caliber quarterback on the right team. But it's not going to be because of him, Brooks said. It will be because he is driving the bus. He's playing a managerial role. Russell Wilson has value. He started in this league for a long time. He's played at a high level. And even though the last 2 years haven't been what we thought, last year wasn't a complete failure for him. After a disastrous 2022 season, Wilson didn't bounce back to being a Pro Bowl-level quarterback last fall. But he did throw 26 touchdowns versus only 8 interceptions, with a 66.4% completion percentage. Brooks clearly set realistic expectations for Wilson, who turned 35 in November. He's not an all-pro caliber quarterback anymore, but Wilson can still be successful in the right offense. Brooks identified the Steelers as a great fit because of head coach Mike Tomlin. I think it's about going to the right team with the right structure in place and the right coach that will kind of protect Russell Wilson against himself, Brooks said. Going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Mike Tomlin is obviously the force. He can take some of that heat off of Russell Wilson. Wilson has been a big disappointment for the Broncos the last 2 seasons. In 30 games with Denver, Wilson has averaged just 7.1 yards per pass, with 42 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. The Broncos also went 11-19 with Wilson as their starter. Over the past 3 seasons, Wilson has posted a 17-27 record as an NFL starting quarterback. Tomlin, though, has never posted a losing NFL season. With pedestrian quarterback statistics for most of 2023, the Steelers still won 10 games and clinched a playoff spot. Furthermore, if the Broncos release Wilson, it's possible the Steelers could sign him for the league minimum. That obviously would make Wilson a very attractive target. As it stands, scheduled to make $39 million fully guaranteed this year, and there are offsets in the contract, ESPN's Dan Graziano said. What that means is if the Broncos cut him, as we expect that they will, and he goes and signs somewhere else, anything he signs for just goes back to the Broncos, up to $39 million. The fact of the matter is, you can get Russell Wilson to play for a minimum salary this year. Paying Wilson a minimum salary would allow the Steelers to dedicate more of their salary cap space to supporting the veteran quarterback with more offensive pieces or additions on defense. Adding Wilson is just one of many possible scenarios for the Steelers at quarterback. Other than signing Wilson, trading for Fields has been another popular Pittsburgh rumor. Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles shared with reporters that they are still determining what to do with Fields this offseason. It just depends on what opportunities pop up, Poles told the media at the NFL Combine. I will say this, if we go down that road, I want to do right by Justin as well. No one wants to live in gray. I know that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So we'll gather the information. We'll move as quickly as possible. We're not going to be in a rush. And we'll see what presents itself and what's best for the organization. The Bears hold the number 1 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. They could trade Fields for additional draft capital and then grab their preferred quarterback option with the top selection this spring. Fields threw 16 touchdowns and had 9 interceptions while averaging 6.9 yards per pass in 2023. He has posted a 10-28 record as an NFL starter in his 3-year career. And you fan, what do you think of the Russell Wilson situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.